What's up, guys? My name is Jellycut5 and welcome to the Chelsea versus Fulham review, where Chelsea unfortunately lost out in this one against Fulham in a 2-1 loss. Before we do get into the video, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, don't forget to hit that notification button, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It really does help me out a bunch for this channel moving forward. So Chelsea 1, Fulham 2. Disappointing result, of course. It's never nice to lose games, but in all fairness, being very brutally honest, I think we deserve to lose. Just need to humble ourselves, we really do, as a club. There's been all this talk, and in some ways, of being title contenders and so on, and being this and being that. Well, today just goes to prove you that that's just a load of nonsense, in fairness. And there is definitely a few cracks appearing, unfortunately, within the squad. We started okay, dominated a fair bit of possession. I mean, the stats overall don't really say that. 47% compared to their 53, 12 shots compared to their 14, 8 on target compared to their 7, 500 passes compared to their 558. So it's clear to see who dominated on what particular side. But as I mentioned, we started off the game pretty well, in fairness. Coming off the back against a draw against Everton, obviously we needed to bounce back in this particular game, and unfortunately we weren't able to do so. We started well, but we looked nervous. I think that's the problem. Obviously, Palmer had a moment of magic, which was a really good goal, in fairness, and that kind of boosted himself for what was needed, in fairness, also, because it was just it came out of nothing. Levi Cole with the assist in 16 minutes, but we just sat back, just didn't do anything, didn't offer anything. I just felt like we looked nervous, we looked complacent, we looked like, in fairness, that we just didn't know how to manage the game, and we didn't want to be on that pitch today. We sat back, we let Fulham dictate a lot of the play. And ever since we've gone second in the league, as I mentioned, there's all this big thing of we're title races, we do this, we do that. It's not the case. We're a young team. There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot for Maresca to learn also. Going into the second half being 1-0 up, I thought we might have a bit more of a G up to be able to start the second a little bit more quicker and see what we can do from there on. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Again, just allowing too much pressure. So many players on that pitch today was absolutely dreadful. The fact that Pedro Neto was the better defender out of Malo Gusto just said it for me. He was absolutely woeful. There's a high expectation with the club, and I get that and I understand that, but at the same time, we just didn't live up to any of that today. We really need to learn how to manage the games, and unfortunately, with 8 minutes left to spare, you've pretty much got the game in your hands. But unfortunately, Harry Wilson got on the end of a very good save from Robert Sanchez with the initial one from Anton Robinson, and unfortunately, he was just able to put it into the back of the net. You could say that Sanchez was susceptible for the last goal, having a big poor clearance, and Muniz being able to go up the other end of the field to kind of get the goal. But at the same time, there's a lot of defending that needs to be done after that. At the same time, it was really just poor, I felt. And the one thing that's questioning me as well a lot about the game and a lot about the way that we play and so on is how Maresca likes to manage the game. There's no substitutions. I mean, don't get me wrong, in recent games our subs bench hasn't been as open, but one substitution in the whole game, which was Christopher Nkuku for Nicholas Jackson, who was absolutely woeful, may I add. I thought Mike Wee would do an absolute splendid job compared to what Nkuku would do, but again, once again, not going to give it a chance. João Felix, I don't understand why he's not been given a chance. I'd even put Tyreek George on the field. Just give us something different. Give us something to be able to kind of cheer about in that moment when players aren't playing as good. And it's as simple as that. Fulham wanted it and Chelsea didn't. It's as simple as that. There's no basically going over it, oh, Chelsea with this. No, we were poor. We were second to every ball, every goal kick that was meant, every ball that got put in the air. There was no points into the game where we actually looked good. I mean, there was the half chances. I mean, in the first half, Marc Cucurella had a moment where he headed the ball and it looked like it was going in. Second half, after conceding a goal, Jadon Sancho looked like he was able to kind of put us back into touch, but it just wasn't to be. I think we could have had 90 minutes on that pitch today and no one would have scored. It was just the fact that we got a lucky break in the first half. We managed to grab a goal, but unfortunately, apart from that, it was just really woeful, and it was really disappointing, in fairness. But as I mentioned, this is the reality check that I think we need as a club, because I think we were poor against Brentford, we were poor against Everton, and we were poor again today. And I know Christmas is a hard point of the year, but I think what Maresca has been saying is quite true, but at the same time that he needs to kind of work on a few things himself to be able to manage the game better, because I know he mentions the players don't, but I don't think he does either, in fairness. And there are quite a lot of calls for why substitutions aren't being made and why certain players aren't on that pitch compared to others. And it's really, really questionable. It's like Noni Madueke. He was a technical decision not to be played today, but at the same time, he could have easily been on the bench to be able to make a chance in the second half. I don't know. It is a bit of a strange one, and hopefully this isn't the downfall of us, because if it is, then we're going to go on a downward spiral. But I'm hoping we can kind of pick ourselves up against Ipswich and go again, but it's needed. But hats off to Fulham. At the end of the day, they played a pressing game and they worked at it and they did well. There's no denying that Fulham played a better game than Chelsea today, and unfortunately we just have to accept it for what it is and take the loss on the chin and move further forward to the game against Ipswich. So here was the lineup against Fulham and my player ratings also. Robert Sanchez at 6.5. Apart from the goals that he conceded, I couldn't actually say that Sanchez put a foot wrong, in fairness. I know that the goal kicks have been slightly questionable in some points in time, because at the end of the day, every time he seems to kick the ball out, no one actually seems to meet it with any kind of moment. I just don't know. It's really, really strange, because every time we used to pass it out, we used to lose the ball. So I think he's trying to do it by kicking the ball out instead, but that doesn't work. It just doesn't. There needs to be something different in terms of goal kicks instead of Colwill being in the box and then passing it, and just it doesn't work. He made a very, very good few saves, especially in the first half. Calvin Bassey made a great run, and then it was just a case of unfortunately, just he made a few good saves, but it just wasn't enough. But I would give Sanchez a 6.5 today easily. I would say so, 100%. Mark Cucurella 7.2, back from suspension today and did well against Traore. In fairness, he's coming against a very, very kind of strong player in Traore. Could have done better in the header. I think he was a bit more point blank, and if he puts that any other position, then he's definitely beating Leno in that chance. But unfortunately, just not to be. But I would give him a 7.2 today. A lot of people are rating him lower, but I thought he actually played quite well today. Tosin Adebayo, facing his former side, seemed to have got to him. Unfortunately, just didn't really seem to perform. I thought the first half he was really, really good. He got bundles of sticker from the away fans, which is very strange to be, but it looked to be very unsettled, and he just looked sloppy at the back. In fairness, on both of the goals, I just don't know what really was going on, and our centre back issues are lying with we seem to be that we've only got two strong centre backs in Colwill and Fofana. So yeah, it's a bit annoying, but at the same time, not the best. A 6.0 for Tosin, 6.5 for Levi Colwill. Excellent for much of it, but some big clearances at the end of the day, but caught high and for the Fulham winner, and that was it. Just didn't really seem to contend. I feel like he's struggling without Fofana next to him, and it's clear to see that is our partnership. And unfortunately, with the injury at the moment, there's nothing we can really do about it at the moment. So 6.5 for Colwill. Malo Gusto 5.0. Absolutely just ridiculous performance and really, really poor, in fairness. If he carries on like this, then I do actually question his future at Chelsea, in fairness. And a few people might be saying I'm a bit crazy for that, but he hasn't performed this season. He just hasn't performed. He was absolutely woeful today. The fact that Pedro Neto was basically the best defender out of the two, and he's not a defender, has said a lot. That all their joy was on that flank. Every single part of their play that was on that flank, because they knew they could beat him. Second to every ball, every pass was sloppy, not good enough. 5.0 for Malo, ridiculous performance today. One to forget, and hopefully he can make amends of it, because otherwise I do see him a very problem on that right hand side, and no reason why Josh Akupon can't fill in on that right hand side and just give him a bit more competition and fairness. And that's where I feel like he's got a little bit complacent, because he knows there's no one replacing him at this given point in time. Enzo Fernandez 7.0 today. Yeah, he was quite good, intelligent in that middle. Should have had an assist for that fine free kick delivery that was denied from Leno. Did quite well in that middle and felt like he won a few battles in that middle. I can't really say a lot for him, but 7.0 for Enzo Fernandez, and same for Caicedo. Thought he was really good. A lot of interceptions he made. That's unfortunately just left to expose at the end for that carnage for Fulham. It was just a bit of one of those, but I'd say he matched Enzo Fernandez's performance in a 7.0. Moving forward to the left hand side, Jadon Sancho had plenty of chances in the game but could not finish his dinner. It was positive start as well, but just faded. And I don't really know what this is for Jadon in that way. If this is the sort of player that we're getting, if he's still got a lot to learn, I'm not too sure. But he had plenty of chances that he could have mopped on today, and it just wasn't to be. Maybe it was just one of those games, but definitely could have been a bit more clinical in front of goal. Only a 6.4 for me today. Apart from his brilliance, I'd give Palmer a 6.6 today. It was a fitting end to the year, shall we say, with an exquisite goal. But if that's all I've got to talk about. There were so many misplaced passes in the second half, so many moments where it's a simple pass and no, I'll just do a little flick and make myself look better. Didn't think he was good enough again today, apart from the goal. Felt like he'd done it all in the first half, and I feel like it's been quite a few games where he hasn't performed. I didn't think he performed against Brentford, didn't think he performed against Everton, and apart from the goal today, I didn't think he performed today either. Really disappointing once again. And same for, well, I wouldn't say the same for Pedro Neto, because he was actually quite good today, a 7.1. Defensively, I thought he was really good and had a big tussle on that side, and he wasn't shy away to kind of defensive work whatsoever. Unfortunately, he just got it wrong in the lead up to Fulham's leveller, and he was booked. It's just one of those. It was an unfortunate one, but I give him a 7.1. I thought he was quite good today. Nicholas Jackson, and he was really poor today. I just don't know what it is for Jackson at the moment. I know he scored against Brentford, but I thought it was poor against them as well, and he was poor against Everton. 5.5 for Jackson today, absolutely woeful. If Nkuku knows that he's going to be off in January or summer, then maybe Mark Gwynn needs to fill the void, because Jackson was really poor. I feel like he's a good striker, and I feel like he's got plenty of goals in him, but at the same time, he just displayed a lot of what he did last season, and that's nothing. He's a big striker as well. Every time the ball came to him in terms of headers, just kind of wimped out, I felt like. Just didn't really seem to do enough. Had hard work, but at the same time, just not a reward. Just no reward whatsoever. And I felt like his performances of late have really kind of succumbed to what he's previously done in the Chelsea shirt. So, yeah, a big lesson learned today. A very big lesson learned. I think a lot of people that mentioning about title races and things like that, I think we're very deluded. I think we're very deluded in that way. I think it was hard to not say in some ways, but at the same time, when you look at the performances that we've put in as of late, and you kind of evaluate from there and the games that we've got ahead of us, then maybe, just maybe, that this is the kick into touch that we need, because it's a tough game against Ipswich. They're going to be up for it being at Portman Road, and we're going to be somewhat low on confidence, I feel. So, a lot of work to do, but not panic stations just yet, shall we say. Worst we can move down to is third if Arsenal win tomorrow against Ipswich. At the end of the day, as I mentioned, if we get ourselves top four and get that Conference League Challenge title, then I'm quite more than happy. But at the same time, it's just one of those. We have to accept it for where we are. We're still learning as a squad. They're still very young. Enzo Maresca's still got a lot to do within that squad, and maybe there's a few faces that still need to kind of go out to go in. It's one of those, but there's a few things at the club that are very questionable at this moment in time with João Felix and some of the changes that are being made week in, week out. But we'll see what we can do. But that is it for this review. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.